so ODI introduction. First of all, what is an ODI?
Oracle Data Integrator.
Oracle Data Integrator.
Oracle Data Integrator. So let's see. Okay. So now what is ODI? Okay, ODI stands for Oracle Data Integrator. Okay, Oracle Data Integrator. So the current version in the market is 12C. Okay, so 12C and previous version we have in the market is 11G and previous version is 10G. So 12C, 11G and 10G and the previous version is Synopsys, because ODI is not Oracle product. Okay, ODI is not a Oracle product. It's a product called Synopsys. So Oracle bought the company. It's a France-based company. Oracle bought that company. So they renamed in 2008. In 2008, yes, in 2008 or in 2007. So they bought company and they named it as Oracle Data Integrator. Okay. So now what is the name of Data Integrator? Why we have to use this tool is for mainly used. Okay, so ODI mainly used in data warehousing projects for integrating the data. Okay, integrating or loading the target databases. We have seen what is the target and everything we have seen. Okay, mainly used in the data warehousing projects for integrating the data, or it's a loading to target database. If you see the diagram in the last class, yes, see here, if you see this diagram, okay, so now we have these sources, relational source, legacy data, this source. So we are getting the data from these sources and loading into this data warehousing. Okay, see here, we are getting the data from these different types of sources: execution system, CRM, ERP, legacy system, e-commerce, external data. So we are getting the data from all these sources and loading into this stage. So here we have a ETL layer. So the ETL stands for extraction, transformation and loading. So mainly used in data warehousing for integrating. So that means for implementing, mainly for implementing ETL operations. So the extraction and transformation and loading operations. So this is mainly used. So ODI is a tool. It's mainly used for implementing, okay, these three operations. So the transformation and the loading operations. So E mainly used for implementing ETL. So ETL operations. So the ETL extracts data from multiple sources. And transform data, extracted data into common form. And then finally load into warehouse are nothing but a target database. Okay, this is the target database. Okay, so these are the three operations we can implement with the ODI. Okay, so what are the other ETL tools we have? What are the other ETL tools we have in the market? Another one is Informatica. Okay, So data stage and Oracle Warehouse Builder. Oracle Warehouse Builder, and then Kettle is an open source ETL tool. Open source ETL tool. So these are the different types of ETL tools we have in the market. Okay. So apart from the Oracle, apart from ODI, so these are the other ETL tools. Other ETL tools. Other ETL tools in the sense that we are going to use for the data warehousing purpose. So the Informatica and then everything we have. Okay. Why it is not changing every time? Or any idea why it is not changing every time? Okay. So now, other tools we have in the market is these are the other tools. Other ETL tools in the market. So Informatica, Warehouse Builder, and Kettle. So these are the different tools we have. Okay. So now, why ODI other than these tools? Because we need to see, right? I'm saying we're discussing the ODI. Okay, but why we have to use it? Okay. So now, these four tools operates on the basis of ETL concept. Okay, but ODI operates or works as per ELT architecture. ELT architecture. So is the works as per ELT. Is works as ELT tool. ELT. What is the difference? So in the ETL operations, the first operation is extraction. Okay, the second operation is the transform, and the third operation is a load. Okay, so now in the ELT operation, in the ELT tool, so first one is extraction. First it extracts the data, and the second one is to load, and third one is to transform. So load and transform. So which one is the better out of these two? Let's see. So ELT versus ETL. We are going to see a ELT versus ELT versus ETL. We have a two tools, two methodologies, ELT method and ETL method. So the ETL tools are Informatica, Data Stage, or Oracle Warehouse Builder, and a Kettle. I'm saying it is a ELT. ELT means it's a ODI tool, because other tools also supports little bit of ELT, but ODI completely supports ELT. See here, everybody sees this diagram. Okay, so this is the one diagram, and another diagram is ELT versus ELT. Let's see here. Okay, so this is the extracting data from source 1, source 2, source 3. Okay, the second step is to transform. So we have a dedicated ETL server. Let's see, in the ETL operations, for example, in the Informatica, so we are extracting data from the three sources, and we are doing the transformations in the dedicated ETL server, and finally we are loading into data warehousing server. Okay, so now in the traditional ETL operations, in traditional ETL tools, okay, so the tool extracts data from sources, data from multiple sources, okay, transforms on dedicated ETL server, okay, so finally loading data into target. Okay, so the loading data into target. Okay, so what are we doing here? So we have a dedicated ETL server for the transformation. So we here, okay, how many servers we need to buy here in this one? One is ETL server we need to buy, and the second one is we need to buy DWH server for storing your this one. Okay, so two servers we need. Okay, so let's see cost. Two servers cost. For example, if it is 1 million, and the ET, this is also 1 million. So the total cost of the servers is the 2 million. Okay, so now in ETL architecture, in ELT, okay, so the tool, whatever tool we are using, that's we are using this one. So it extracts data from sources, loads into DWH server. First it loads into DWH server. Okay, so then apply transformations. Transformations on target server. That is your target server. Okay, here in this approach, how many servers we are needing? Only one DWH server. We are not buying any dedicated server for ETL. So the cost is only one. Okay, only 1 million. So using this ELT and ODI tool, we are saving money on the basis of the server. Why? Because we are not buying a dedicated ETL server here. Let's see here. So here the load operation. So here there is no load. We are directly loading into the warehouse. If you see this diagram, okay, so this is more clear. So we are extracting data from sources, the first step, transformations on the server, okay, and we are going to have a finally data warehousing server. So now here extraction and load into server. Okay, so this is the data. We are doing transformation in some part of the same server. Load and transform on the same hardware and software platform. See here, we are loading and doing the transformations on the same data warehousing platform. So here we are buying the separate engine or separate server for ETL. Everybody is clear? Everybody is clear the difference between ETL architecture and ELT architecture? Which one is the better in these two? So first thing is ELT is better. ODI is better. What is the advantage of ODI? Which saves money. The cost effective, right? So ODI is the cost effective. So ODI is the cost. Next one is the second point. The second point is source is in India. ETL is in one server and target is in one server. So we need the network traffic from source to ETL server and ETL server to data warehousing server. So we need network server between extraction to transform and transform to load. But here the transformation and the data warehousing load on the same database. So we can avoid some network traffic. So it loads the data in the faster way. ELT architecture is the more fast than ETL architecture because we can reduce some kind of networking traffic. Everybody is clear?
Yes.
Right? Clear, right? See, if you see this diagram, you clearly understand. So the source to transformation server, we need to extract and load network. From transformation server to data warehousing server, again we need a network. Okay, so we can avoid this network operations between. So extraction and the load. We can avoid some network traffic. So ELT is faster way. In ELT, so we can avoid, we can load data in much faster way. In the faster. Okay, because of we can eliminate some network traffic. Everybody is clear? Network traffic. So here the network traffic is there. So here mostly, so we are going to have network traffic. Between source to ETL server to target server. They are going to have a ETL to target server. Okay, so then the second point. So now here, this data warehousing server, are we using data warehouse server extensively in the ETL or not? Okay, in this ETL server, are we using this ETL server extensively? Yes or no? Are we doing any code execution on the ETL server? Sorry, are we doing any code execution on the target server in the ETL method, or we directly just only for loading purpose?
Only for loading purpose.
We are not doing any transformation, so we are not
Just
utilizing the
loading.
capacity of the target server. But in the ELT architecture, we are utilizing the database server. So we are doing some calculations, because here in the ETL architecture, we are doing the transformations on the dedicated server. But here we are doing the operations on the target server. So okay. So in ELT method, okay, so we are utilizing the capacity of the target server for transformations. Capacity of target server for transformations. So that's why ELT architecture is the much better. Okay, so the ELT architecture is the much better than the normal regular operations. Everybody is clear about the introduction. So why? What is the different tools we have? Okay, so basically we are using this ETL tools for your source to loading into the data warehouse. So we are getting the data from the source systems and loading into this data warehouse. So using this ETL layer. So the ETL layer can be implemented with any one of the layers. So the mainly used for extraction, transformation and loading. Okay, clear? Transformations and loading operations. Everybody is clear or please? Yes or no?
Yes.
It's the ETL versus and ELT architecture. I'm inserting one diagram. Okay. So now this is the basic introduction between ETL versus an ELT architecture. So now we are going to see the ODI. Okay. So now ODI is the tool. What is the ODI? ODI is the data integration tool. ODI is a data integrator tool. We have seen so the integrator tool for loading data into data warehouses. Okay. So ODI works so based on ELT architecture. It's a fast loading. And so what are the advantages? Okay, so the advantages of ETL ODI is it reduces the cost. It reduces the cost of the data load operations. Why it reduces the cost of the data load operations? We don't need to buy any special dedicated ETL. Okay, we don't need to buy any dedicated ETL server. Okay, the thing is, and ODI tool provides fully unified solution. That means a complete solution. Provides a complete solution for what? Solution for building, okay, deploying and managing So using the ODI provides a complete solution for building, deploying, okay, and managing a complex data warehousing. Complex data warehouse. That's a very definition. So by using this one, okay, the complex data warehouse, or we can use ODI, okay, so as a part of ODI as a component in SOA architecture or business intelligence environment. Please note down. Okay, so we can use, so SOA means the service oriented architecture. We can use this in a service oriented architecture. We can use this in a service oriented architecture. We can use it in service oriented architecture, or we can use in the BI environment. Like I said, the reporting purposes, we can load the data. Okay, so now the data movement. See, what are the operations we can do with the data? Say the ODI provides a complete solution for, we can use this ODI for building, deploying and managing a complex data warehouse. And the second point is, okay, so the ODI, it combines all elements of the data integration activities. Okay, so ODI combines all data integration related activities. What are the data related activities? Data movement and extraction. So we can extract the data and we can move the data from one place to another place. See here, we can extract from the sources and load into warehouse. Okay, so we can do the data cleaning. Before loading into the data, we can data cleaning. Okay, we can apply the business rules. We can apply transformations. We can apply the transformations and data quality. We can do the data quality. That means we can apply some kind of rules. That means invalid credit card don't load into the target. If you get a invalid record from the source, don't load into that one. So we can clean the data, we can apply, okay, and we can call a web services also as a part of SOA architecture, service oriented architecture. We can call web services also. Web services also. Okay, so the data movement and data extraction, data cleaning, we can apply the transformation, data quality as part of, we can use the any number of web services. Okay, so we can see a lot of operations we can see with this one. So we can do the data movement and everything. Okay, everybody is clear? Yes or no, please?
Yes.
Yes. Abhiraj, Devender, Praneeth, Rohit, Sachin, Shashank, Shiva and Srikar. అర్థమవుతుందండి అందరికీ?
Yeah, అర్థమవుతుంది.
Okay, so important, chala important. So the ODI is mainly used for loading into your warehouse. That means, so extracting data from a sources. We're extracting from the sources, load into the target. What are the supported sources and supported targets? Okay, ODI supports any technology as a source or any technology as a target. ODI supports any technology as a source and any technology as target. For example, so the source, it can be a RDBMS, any RDBMS like Oracle, SQL Server, Teradata, Sybase, and we can use anything. So we can use the files also. For example, CSV files, we can use the CSV files. We can use the MS Access also. MS Access database. Okay, Fox Pro database. So many database. It can support any databases and CSV files. Okay, flat files. Okay, Excel files. These are the different types of files it supports. Okay, and XML files, XML technology. XML files can be used. So that means we can use it for any source or any technology, any source or any target. Sybase, MS Access, Fox Pro, Oracle, SQL Server, Teradata files, XML files, and everything can be used. So it supports any technology and any technology as a source. Okay, so what is ODI architecture? So we have seen it is the architecture is based on this ELT. Okay, what are the main components of a ODI architecture? So what is ODI architecture? That's the very important. Okay, so the ODI component, ODI architecture, all mainly ODI components are divided into development component and the runtime component. All ODI components are divided into design time component, and the runtime component. And we have some special component called as a web component. Special component like special components for monitoring based on web application. So based on our web application, so that we will see what is the name and everything. Okay, so these are the understanding. So the design time component and the runtime components. What is a design time component and what is a runtime component? So what is the design time? So what is the general meaning of a design time component? What is the general meaning of a design time component? What is the general meaning of a design time component? What is the general meaning of a design time component?
Where we do all the development.
Yes. So these design time components are mainly for design. So the design of your ETL operations. So the components which will be using for designing of your ELT jobs. Using all ELT jobs. Jobs are components or artifacts or ODI components. Okay, ODI artifacts. That means whatever we are developing with ODI, all the things will be artifact. And the runtime components are mainly responsible for running your ELT jobs. So the runtime components are mainly responsible for running your ELT jobs. So are mainly responsible for running your ELT jobs. So the design time components, so which will be using for all your ELT jobs, components, and whatever we develop, all those things will be in your the design time component. And the runtime components are mainly responsible for running your ETL jobs. Okay, so what are the design time components and what are the runtime components? So the design time component. Okay, so the design time, the special component for monitoring based on the web application. Okay, so now let's see. So the design time components. Design time components in ODI is called as a ODI Studio. ODI Studio is the design time component. Okay, so now, and the runtime component is agent. So the agent. So if you see anything in ODI as an agent, that is nothing but an agent. Agent is mainly responsible for running your ELT jobs. We can use the agent. ODI Studio is your for development purpose. Okay. So what is this? The special component. The special component is a ODI console. ODI console is a web component or web application component for monitoring of your jobs over the web. Monitoring all your ODI jobs over web server. We will have a web server or application server. We will monitor over the web server or web application server. So that means it's a web-based application. We can log into, we can see how many jobs completed successfully, how many jobs failed and everything. So the ODI architecture. Okay, the ODI architecture mainly design time components and runtime components. Design time components is nothing but a ODI Studio. Okay, so ODI Studio and runtime components is an agent. Agent is mainly responsible for running your jobs. And ODI Studio. ODI console is the web component for monitoring all your ODI jobs over web server and web application server. Everybody is clear so far, please? Everybody is clear?
Yes.
So all these components are okay. ODI Studio is again contain the 4 individual tools. ODI Studio again divides into 4 internal components, into 4 components. ODI Studio again divided into 4 components. So one is designer, and the second one is operator, and third one is topology, and the fourth one is security. So ODI Studio again divides into 4 components: designer, operator, topology, and the security. Okay, so what is this designer? The designer is for designing all your ETL ODI components, is for developing. The designer is for developing all your ELT data flow or data load jobs, or simply I can say it's for ODI project development. Okay, so all ODI components. Okay, all ODI artifacts. Let's say artifacts, because components we have already seen. So this is the designer. So whatever we are developing, all the developments using the designer only. Whatever we develop, the entire development is using the designer only. So you will not use any other than, not use any operator or topology or security for your development purpose. You will use only designer, is for developing all your ETL or ELT data flow and data load jobs, ODI project development and ODI artifacts. Everybody is clear? So now this operator is for monitoring all your jobs, is for monitoring. Say I completed my project, I'm running in the production, so I want to monitor. Monitoring all your ODI jobs. So what is the meaning of a monitoring? Monitoring means we can see, okay, whether the job completed successfully or not. If it is failed, what is the reason? So the job status, how many jobs completed successfully, how many jobs failed. So if a job failed, what is the reason for failure? So then we can see the operator. Operator is for monitoring. Monitoring, what is the meaning of a monitoring? So the production support, we need to see how many jobs completed successfully, how many jobs it is failed, how many jobs it is successfully loading the data, and everything we can see in a operator. Okay. So now, so what is the topology? The topology is for Okay, configuring infrastructure of your ODI project. Of your ODI projects. What is the meaning of infrastructure of your ODI projects? Let's see here. Okay, these are the sources, right? These are the three sources and one target. So the infrastructure of your project means what are the technologies you are using, what are the sources, what are the targets. Okay, so we are using. So that means infrastructure means what are the sources and targets. That means sources and targets of your ODI projects. Of your projects, and we can see agents configuration also. See here, runtime component, right? The runtime component agent configuration. So agent configuration also. That means, so this mainly used for, what is the use of this one? Okay, so the agent topology is for configuring the infrastructure. So that means what are the configuration? Configuration is nothing but a what are the sources and what are the target. These are the sources, right? So this is the target. So this information will be stored in a topology manager. The topology manager is for this one. The security. Okay, so the security is for managing ODI users. That means ODI developers, user, and their roles and responsibilities. Roles and responsibilities. So the ODI, so the security is for managing the ODI users, and their roles and responsibilities. So how many users are there? Because I am the administrator, you are all my team working in the ODI. I want to give, okay, Shashank, it's only the developer. Aviram is only the production support only. So that means I want to give him access only on the operator. Okay, so only operator. And then I want to give Praneeth as a developer come operator. So I want to give access with these two. That's why. So I need to see, okay, what are the users and then what are the roles and their responsibilities. So the designer is for designing your ETL jobs, and the operator is for monitoring all your ODI jobs, and the topology is for configuring infrastructure of your ODI project. So what is the meaning of infrastructure of your ODI project? Infrastructure is nothing but a what are the sources, what are the targets, and everything. So the security information is your ODI users. Okay, everybody is clear? All these ODI studio and all ODI components, all ODI components in the sense it includes design time component, runtime, and web component, ODI console. All ODI components include design time component, runtime component, and ODI components are interrelated, connected to each other through a repository. So the repository, so that is nothing, metadata repository. So the repository. Okay, so the repository is a very important. All ODI components includes design time component and runtime component. ODI components are connected to each other through a repository. So what is a repository? See here. Okay, so now in our architecture, so here the extraction definitions, loading definitions, analyze queries, all are storing in this repository. See here the metadata repository. So all are related to each other, are connected to each other through a component called as the repository. The repository is nothing but a, okay, so what is a repository and what is a types of repositories we have? Okay, the repository is nothing but it stores a definition of your development. Let's see. See here, 4 components: the designer, operator, topology manager, and security managers. All are connected through a component called repository. Repository is nothing but a schema definition. So the repository is nothing but the schema definition where we can store our coding. It does not, repositories does not contain any data. Repositories never contains any data. Repository contains only the components only. It does not contain the central component of the repository. Okay, so let's see. So this is the central component. The repository is a central component in ODI architecture. Basically, it stores information about the infrastructure, information about agents. It contains the complete information. Information contains about agents, the information about your users and their roles, information about ODI users and roles and responsibilities. And the fourth one is the metadata. That means the mappings and packages. Metadata of all applications, all ODI projects. What is the metadata in the senses? We will see in the next class. It's not today. This is only the first class only. So the metadata means the mapping definitions, the data flow definitions. So the data mappings definitions, then packages definitions, and the source tables, the target tables. Okay, so the metadata of your applications, like what are the metadata in the sense is projects, ODI projects information. Okay, so the mappings information, and then ODI procedures. These are all the components, procedures and ODI, source tables and target tables, definitions only. Okay, source tables and target tables. See, these are the information metadata of your applications. Okay, so and the execution logs. This is very important. Execution logs. Execution logs in the sense is we can see how many jobs completed successfully, how many jobs failed, and what is the failed reason, how to fix it. So this information. So the repository is a central component. If you see this diagram, this is the central diagram. So the repository is the central component. Okay, so the central component for storing, and these component, all these components are connected to each other with the component of called repository. So this repository stores. See, the basic thing is whatever we do with the ODI that stores in the repository. Whatever we do, the designer, whatever we do, whatever we design, whatever is there in the operator, what is the infrastructure of your project, and what is the security manager, all these 4 components, whatever we do with these 4 components are navigators will store in this repository. So the repository is a very main component. Everybody is a clear place? Please let me know. అర్థమవుతుందా అందరికి? అర్థం కాకపోతే ఇప్పుడే చెప్తాను. అర్థం అవ్వకపోతే మీరు తర్వాత ఏమీ చేయలేరు. ఆర్కిటెక్చర్ అర్థం అవ్వకపోతే నాకు చెప్పండి ఇప్పుడు. ఓకే, ప్లీజ్. అర్థమవుతుందా? Everybody is clear? And Abhiram, Devender, Praneeth, Rohit, Sachin, Shishan. Okay, so now That's it. So what are the types of repositories? The repositories are divided into two types. So one is master repository and the thing is work repository. Okay, so one is master repository and another one is work repository. So what is master repository? What is work repository? We will continue in the next class along with the ODI project life cycle. So what is the main, how do you start the development and everything, we will see in the next class. Okay, so we are not going to have a class on the weekends. Initially we are going to have a class only the Monday to Friday. If we need more time, we are going to have a class on the weekends also. Everybody is clear about this today's class? Yes or no, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So see you.